So recording to cloud. Yeah, nice to have you. Nice to have you, Joanne. This has actually been a very long time coming. I'm sure if we, I met with you like sometime 2020 during or before 2020. I'm sure was it before the
No,
lockdown we met during the
20,
lockdown?
I think it was before the lockdown.
Okay, but I guess about 2020. Yeah.
Mm.
So you inspire a lot of people even without knowing it, and the area that you actually operate in is one area that a lot of businesses, small businesses, or even medium businesses, you'd even be shocked. Like the real players in business, they look down on planning, they look down on structuring, they look down on the behind the scenes strategy, things that actually drive companies. Basically,
Mm.
they don't seem to give that their best shot because they may just feel that okay, I've been in business, I know how business works, and that's it. Nobody's advising them, nobody's talking to them. But before we dive right into the interview, my name is Joseph, as you know. Nice to have you, Joanne. So we'd like to meet you. Who is Joanne? Sorry, I'm saying Joanne, like a very local
I
guy
was
from
about,
one village.
I was
So,
about to correct you. I'm forever correcting people on the game. Like, no,
you know,
it's not
you know,
Joanne,
say,
it's Joan, it's Joan, it's Joan. But it's fine anyways. Um,
Joan. Okay. All
yeah,
right. No, I'll do Joan. I'll do Joan so that I don't offend some other Jones out there.
I've
So
been
tell
now.
us, let's meet you, Joan.
Okay, my name is Joan, although you never see it on any of my documents. It's my alias. It's one of my names that long story. My official names are Ilifwe Omokubo Agbi. Those are names I go by in in the corporate world. I am a business development executive, and that's what I've been doing for quite some time now. I do business development for small businesses. Um, I've worked in that capacity as well. I've worked in that capacity. I've done things relating to QA, quality assurance, safety. My experience is crazy. I've done something
Oh,
related to QA, quality assurance, safety, and I worked in the oil and gas industry, the construction, and now I'm in tech.
right.
So what I really do, yeah, what I really do is I help small businesses plan and show them actionable steps that they can use to implement the plans. I've realized that most small businesses, they wing it. Like, I have this strong sense, I have this passion, like this is going to work, and they just start business like that. They get funds and they just go in until wherever the funds really take them, and they now start to analyze like, oh wow, this business is not really profitable. What happened? They now start from there. They now start doing all the analysis, and it's not supposed to be so. Businesses are supposed to be planned. Like the way you plan for a building, you ought to plan for your business too. Plan how you go about achieving certain milestones in your business and how you would implement the plan. Because then again, there's also a difference between writing a plan and implementing the plan. Many people write plans
Executing one.
and
Yeah,
it
I
just
was
keep
about to
it
get to that.
and they just keep it in their drawers. Like I've worked with plenty of people that they are like that. They just wrote the plan because they wanted money, funds, or they wrote the plan because it was part of some compliance documentation. Like, okay, because DPR is saying XYZ is supposed to be a supporting document to me getting the license. I have to really write a plan. Or saying fan, because I want to bid for a proposal for a lot in fan, I need a plan. So they just write those things. They don't really care about what's written in it. They just write it just to support other documents. So my passion is really about helping small businesses grow through planning and implementation. So that's what I've been doing for a number of years whilst I was in paid employment and working alone. So yeah, let me tell you about my educational background as well. I
I think
did
that'd be very nice.
Oh, okay. I did
Yeah.
business administration undergrad, and I went on to do MBA in Edinburgh Business School, Scotland. So that's about it with Joan.
Okay. Thank you so much. In fact, when you started mentioning the industries, you talked about quality assurance, you talked about safety, then you talked about tech. But I want to ask you a bonus question, actually, not because I've had the cost to ask this question before, but I'm thinking when you draw plans for businesses and the expectation is that when drawing up those plans, I believe that there's somewhere behind your mind where you're thinking like, okay, this company, if they execute on this, they should be able to achieve X, Y, and Z within a period of maybe 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, as the case may be. Have you dealt with companies that have actually been faithful to executing rather than just having a wonderfully crafted and designed document locked up somewhere? Are there companies that you can say, okay, they implemented on this particular strategic, viewpoint, and they were able to achieve certain results?
Okay, I would say yes to that question. Let's say, out of 10 businesses I've worked with, one company actually did that.
Are you kidding me?
Out of
10%.
10, out of 10 companies that I've worked with, only one I can say for certain actually use the action plans and implement. And yeah, whilst I was working with them, because it wasn't just planning I did for them, planning and also implementation. So we're able to test some of the things we wrote in the plan and see how they were able to play out in the real life. Because many times you plan, you dream, you dream big, but in reality, there are some unforeseeable circumstances that will just come your way that might disrupt your plans. So being able to test the plans, tweak where necessary, and being able to adjust or re-strategize at different milestones. Because like I always tell people, a plan is not written in stone, so it can change. You don't have to be rigid and say, okay, this is what I wrote and this is how I must follow it. No, it's not. It's a living document, really. It's something that ought to be updated at intervals. Like when you see that a particular strategy, like maybe your marketing strategy or your operational strategy is not working due to maybe a change in government or a change in some policies or regulations that are affecting your business, you have to move with the change. So yeah, I would say only one business really that
It's
come in
really
contact
sad,
with
really.
that.
It's not sad because you put in so much work. It's sad for people who have the opportunity to 10x what they are doing, and maybe for one reason or the other, they don't necessarily have the motivation. So are there things that you do to like motivate people? Do you have a system, or maybe you prompt individuals and you're like, okay, we have this plan, you have to go with people, or are they just is it in such a case that people just decide whether they want to work with the plan
I would say,
or want to work with a plan? Do you
okay, the line is breaking. Sorry, can you repeat the last part of the question? I didn't get that.
Okay, what I was trying to say is is there an avenue where you talk to these companies on the need after drafting the plan and all that,
Mm.
you talk to them on the need for execution?
Oh, okay. Yes, I always talk about the need for execution, and I'll try to show them the projections. Like, see, this could be you, but hey, this is what you're doing. You're doing something different. And
Yeah.
like I mentioned earlier on, the particular company that I said is the only one that actually worked with the plan. They the motivation for them was the results they were getting really. At some point they said that, oh, okay, some strategies were working because we're testing it was like a life plan. It wasn't anything that was in any drawer anywhere. So weekly we would communicate and like, oh, okay, this is how it went. Monthly, then quarterly. So we were able to test as we were moving on and realize that some things were working, and the ones that were working were actually motivation for us to even add more strategies or try some new strategies or add some things to the mix. So I would say for that particular company, the results where the motivation and the results really ought to be your motivation. For you to have a plan and see that the plan is coming to life, that should be enough motivation. So that's why I actually do sell to people that, don't you want to have XYZ? Don't you want your company to be this large or have this amount in the bank? Do you understand? Don't you want this kind of growth? So those are the things that I always push out to people, that this should be your motivation, not just because you want to collect XYZ amount of money right now, or because it's it's a supporting document for you to get some compliance certification or license. You understand? So I believe result in itself is motivation.
All right, that's very factual. Something else came to mind while you were talking. I wanted to just imagine a scenario where there is a new company in town, and maybe they haven't actually started operations yet. They're about to begin operational activities and all of that. What are the first three things? What are the first three things that you tell that company? This is like something anyone can actually use anyways out there, you know.
Very new company.
Yes, very new. All they have is their CAC documentation. They have an office. They've not even employed staff fully yet, you know. So what are the first three things you feel that company should do on their pathway, on their road to greatness?
Okay. For that company to have this is my own assumption, for that company to have done CAC, gotten an office space, it will mean that they definitely have some plan somewhere, right? Yeah. Or it will mean that they've done feasibility of that business, if it's a new market or a new product. It will mean that also they've done their market research to test the market and put out feelers, the people that are willing to accept whatever product or service they're about to offer. Yeah. So for that company, what I would advise is they should have like an SOP, a standard operating procedure, and they should also have handbook for their staff. And then again, they should have like how they do things generally. Like a standard operating procedure is still different from an operating procedure. I'll explain why I said that. SOP might contain the whole operating procedures with regards to the personnel, the processes, how it's done, and everything. If it's a manufacturing company, there ought to be like a different booklet for just the operating procedure. Like, okay, this is what we ought to do in fulfilling this particular manufacturing process. So if it's that kind of business, yes, an SOP, then an OP can work in that regard. But if it's a service business, yes, you still need an SOP. You need a handbook for your staff. Then you need to have a marketing plan. Yeah, a marketing plan that is standing alone from the business plan, broken down in bits, like how you intend to reach out, how you intend to go to the market, really reach out to your main audience.
Yeah, then I was wondering, because I come across a lot of businesses. I work with a lot of companies as well. I'm not trying to brag, but as at the last count, as at the last count, I think we're almost topping. We're moving towards 1,400, in that regard. And these are companies of individuals who are operating on, different levels and all of that. One thing I've come to realize basically is that a lot of businesses, a lot of small businesses, they don't necessarily want to pay for, certain people. Just feel that, okay, for the fact that I have a CAC registration, in a lot of cases that I already know everything about process, I know everything about human resource, I understand everything. In fact, somebody called me up today and she needed certain things done. And I was trying to explain to her. She now said, okay, I've gone online. And I said, okay, since you're already online, then it's fine. You can actually do everything by yourself.
By yourself, Abby.
So she was like, okay, how much are you going to do that? I said, no, you're already online. You started the process. You can do everything by yourself. But the fact remains that when you make a mistake in doing what you are about to do and you now come back, then you are not just paying afresh, you are paying for that mistake that you have made and also for rectifying the error. So how do you deal with cases where you meet businesses who feel that, they are a one-stop shop? Because you find some business owners who feel, what's the need of even getting a lawyer or an accountant or a HR personnel? They feel they have it all, they can do it all. What's your advice to those kind of individuals?
My advice to them is you don't know it all. Sorry, excuse me. You don't know it all. You can't say everything say you'll be able to get all the knowledge you need for your business from the internet. You can't. I mean, there are some situations that you need a lawyer. You can't read up on whatever situation your business is facing at that point in time online. You will not get the answer. So it's always best to leave some things to professionals. Like, say you want to draft some commercial agreements. Obviously, you need a lawyer because at the end of the day, you drafted something that you didn't put the right clauses and you were. Hello, can you still hear me? Okay. Say you didn't put the right clauses in the agreement, or you didn't do it in a way that it will favor you. It went against your own business. At the end of the day, like you said rightly, you pay for the ignorance, you pay for the negligence when you eventually consult with a lawyer. There are some things that you can't just take away from a professional. You can't be doing your books all by yourself when you have a staff strength of like 10 to 25. You say you want to be the alpha and the omega in your business. You want to be doing payroll, you want to be doing taxes, you want to be doing you will burn out eventually. There are some things that it's actually better you outsource it and save time, save resources, save other resources like money. Because the time you would have spent doing your taxes yourself or doing your payroll yourself, if you had outsourced it, you'd have used that time to come up with strategies that will benefit your business. So I usually tell people that yes, you can start at the beginning, being everything, the alpha and the omega in your business. Like, yes, I'm the lawyer, the HR, the admin, the accountant, the CEO, all the titles you want, just wear the caps. Yeah, at the beginning. But as you start to grow, as you start to grow, you yourself, you realize that you have the need for these people. And if you don't get them, mistakes are costly in business. Nobody will tell you twice. After making several mistakes, you will still come back. There was one, I will give an example of someone who came to meet me one time. She wanted a business plan for an NGO, right? Because she was in need of funds, I think for grants. So she told me, oh, XYZ NGO, this is what we do. Fantastic. I need a business plan. So we went into negotiating, and the lady was like, she only has 10,000 naira to pay. No tea, no shade, no disrespect. I was like, I just smiled. I said, Madam, we don't write business plans for that amount. Reason being, I gave her the reasons why we don't write business plans for that amount, and told her how different our own service is from every other business, because we'll actually help you with the action plan and you put it in motion and see results. So she was like, that's it's too much. Or somebody that was doing it for me before does it for does it for less. And I said, oh, okay. Maybe you should. I didn't outrightly tell her to contact the person, but I just told her that, okay, is the person unavailable? Then she said, the person is away. And I said, oh, sorry about that. Then she went ahead to tell me that she can even easily get it online on Google. And I said, that's fine as well. That yes, you can get 1,001 plan templates on Google. Google is your best friend. Yes, I wouldn't object to that. You do you. If that works for you, then that's fine. She now said, that why am I not negotiating? I'm like, madam, you already have your own priorities set.
She has a solution already now.
Exactly. She already has a solution at her back in her back pocket. So what I just did for her was this is what I will do for you, because at that point in time I ran 2 series of how to write your own business plan. So I was trying to like change it into a different process where it can just run on its own, and I wouldn't have to be involved in those classes.
Definitely.
Those classes, they were intense.
Great.
So I just did it in such a way that I gave her access to templates, access to videos that she could use and everything. Then she was like, she can easily get this online as well. I said, okay, I'm sorry I was not able to help you, but hopefully you find the help that you need. So for people
Yeah.
like that, if you already know where you think your solution is, then there's no need. Like just
Yeah.
go ahead. Go ahead to where you think your solution is. Then when you make the mistake, you pay times two.
In fact, it always happens that way. And talking of strategy, you mentioned something relating to strategy. What's the approach that I don't want to say your best approach, because I know that anything best is always revolving or evolving.
Mm.
What's your approach to strategy for companies that are in need of, a strategic direction? Maybe either it's for creating a new product, or going
Mm.
into a new market, or trying to address, certain risk factors in their business. What's your first instinct, when people come to you for maybe strategic direction for any issues?
Okay, my first instinct will be to analyze. Let's do some analysis. Let's see why you actually need this change in direction. What have you been doing so far? How have you gotten to what have you been doing so far that has gotten you to where you are? And why do you feel the need to have that change now? So after analyzing, we tend to find out those things that need to be changed, or need to be corrected or redirected. If it's for a product, after doing the analysis and seeing what needs to change, maybe you want to add that product to improve your revenue. So first do the analysis, then also have feelers in the market research to see if that product is actually right at that point in time. Because the product can be right in your head, in the minds of the execs in the company, but it might not be ready for the market. There are some products that some people have released into the market that are not ready for the Nigerian market. Like now, they might be ready in 5 years' time, they might be ready in 10 years, 2 years, but they're not ready now. How ready is that product for the market? So we'll do a market research, then also a feasibility. How feasible is this thing? Are we going to be able to get the right people, the right resources to be able to accomplish this? And what is it going to cost us really? What will be the operational plan? How do we intend to go about fulfilling this service or creating this product? So that's usually like the preliminary, sorry, my tongue is twisting. The preliminary before we go into other things, before we start adding up marketing strategy, operational strategy, we need to like start from the foundation, analyze first, analysis.
Yeah. Somebody once said, this is more like a diversion, but I just want to know your thoughts on it.
Okay.
Somebody once said, prayer is not a strategy.
Truly, prayer is not a strategy.
Because you talk to some businesses, and sometimes all they end up saying is, it is well,
Like
it is well,
grace
we
of
are prayed about it.
No. Prayer is not a strategy. I'm a firm believer, right? I have this
Yeah,
belief that God will not come down and do for you what He has empowered you to do.
yeah,
If He has not if He has given you power, like dominion, He has given you the mind. You've not even used up to 50% of your mind. He has given you so much resources. So you've not yet explore or exploit the resources He has given to you, but you are there just relaxed that He will just come and do for you what you ought to do for yourself. I don't think things work like that. Yes, grace abounds many times, but things don't work like that. We can't always be hoping for miracles in business.
all right. I had cause to speak with a client of mine in Uyo. He runs a mining operation in Cross River,
Mm.
across Plateau State. Well, so he does a lot of things with a lot of merchants in Dubai and all that.
Mm.
And on one of such occasions of his numerous travels, before the entire COVID thing struck, he realized that some of his guys, while he was at work, they were tampering with certain things on the mining site. Let's say they dig up minerals up to a certain value, they stopped declaring those things, and he couldn't really find their replacement, early enough at that point in time. And then he delayed firing them. So on a certain occasion, that's just like an aside. Then I've also heard Gary Vee talk about, fire faster than you hire. You can make a mistake when you are hiring people, but you shouldn't be too slow to let people go, especially
Fire.
when they are now beginning to act, counter culture. What's your organization to actually stand for? So, what's your own thinking? Your best approach to having to let people go? Is there a strategy for that? Does that is there a business plan for firing?
Yeah, there should be a sort of plan, not a full plan, but it's supposed to be in your business plan. Yeah, it's supposed to be in your business plan how you recruit
I
and
get people out of a company.
how you recruit, exit process, that how you um, reward or punish your employees. At what point would you need to fire? Things like that should be spelled out, not in full details in your business plan, but in your handbook. There's this
Okay.
I have this belief that nobody is indispensable really. You can always get someone with similar skill sets. It's just that it might cost you. You can always get someone else. So when some employees tend to behave like, oh, I'm indispensable because I have all the knowledge and everything, you cannot do without me. First of all, I would say the employer has failed in some respects. I will tell you why I said this. If you empower such an employee to feel that way, they will always ride you. What you need to do in that situation is to have a process like, okay, this is what we are mining, right? um what are the processes involved in mining? Is it just one person that knows it, or is it all of the team? Where can I get replacements for these people should anything happen? Are they full-time staff? Are they temps? Are they part-time workers? What do they do? Like, is it what they do? Are they unique to a specific person that if they should leave, the whole operation will crumble? Things like that needs to be thought about, and you need to also have a plan, like a backup plan. Should this person be misbehaving anyhow, you have someone to replace them with, or you should have a way to give their job, their duties to another person in the team. I actually like job rotation. When employees go through different
Aspect
departments
of
in
the
an
company.
organization, they're able to learn different things. That's why earlier on, I mentioned I have an experience in QA, I have an experience
Yeah,
in operations management, I have an experience
yeah,
in
totally.
safety, I have an experience in literally almost everything. I was able to have this experience because I went through different departments. My then boss had this mindset as well that nobody's indispensable. You can't come and think that because you can't come and think that when you're not there anymore, the business will not operate anymore. That's not it. And there's also this thing we say in our church that if you if you don't set up your business in such a way that without one person or without you yourself, the business cannot run, then you've actually failed. You failed at delegation, you failed at um, appropriating tasks to different individuals. You failed really. So for you to get to that point where you now be panicking and everything, or you actually fail, you actually need to have a HR plan. How do you intend to onboard new employees? Say
Yeah.
your guy is about to get new miners or new people that work on the site. How how will he get to train them? How will they be able to mix with the team that are already there, that they won't have to corrupt him? Or at what point would he have to change the whole team or assess the team? What would be the criteria for letting someone go really? KPIs, things like that. They show you how well an employee is doing, or they also show you how well your people are doing with regards to your business. If your people are actually the problem, costing you money, then you'll be able to know that I ought to change this. So I favor job rotation a lot, and I'm not keen on one person knowing the whole company's secrets and everything. Without that person, the company is dead. Mm-mm. I
Yeah.
also favor delegation. I also favor operational procedures, laid down rules, how to onboard employees, what they need to know, trainings, things like that. I feel they are things that will actually make work easy and seamless.
Okay, that's really for me. I've never really thought of the whole job rotation thing as a business concept on its own. Um,
Mm,
where I run, the operations I run, I implement that maybe not 100%, maybe 50, 60, 70%, at that level.
mm.
But I think it's something I really need to look much deeply into so that one doesn't become a victim of you have one superstar in the organization and the day superstar says, I'm out of
Bye.
here. The guy goes with 100% of the entire, knowledge scale of the company, which is definitely not good for business.
No,
Then
it's
there's something that is really making rounds presently.
mm,
People are talking so much about remote work,
mm,
individuals working from home. I've had cause to work from home myself,
mm.
and I know that there could be a lot of distractions, with working from home. But as a company, let's say you were to help a company to implement, a work from home policy, remote
Mm.
work policy. What are the first things you would put into consideration before you actually embark on a full scale implementation of that?
Okay. First we need to know all the tasks and responsibilities, like what needs to be done before we know how to assign them. Okay, right now, there's a company I work for, and we don't. I can't remember the last time where anybody was in the office. The office is
In
just
Lagos, or is it
Lagos.
is it a foreign
It's
company?
not. It's not. It's not a foreign anything. Lagos.
Wow,
So
that's really interesting.
yeah, the employees don't even work from the office. It's only when they need to pick up something or when they need to go and drop off something. The last time that anybody was in that office should be like maybe January or February. I'm not sure. It's a very long time. So it's something that can work. It's not like it can't work. It can work. For that company, what they actually do, because I might not be able to say everything, bound by
Oh,
some
oh,
confidentiality clause and all of that.
yeah.
They have tools and resources that actually help out. Communication is a great part to make that work. You can there are tools like Slack, tools like Bitrix, Monday.com, all these apps, they all help to put the team together in one place, see the tasks that are available to the tasks that are on ground and the people that are available and what each person is doing. These apps that I just mentioned, they can also help you to measure their performance, how well the person is doing. So you don't need to be at the office saying, why are you looking at Facebook? If I'm looking at
Are you
Facebook, what's
sleeping?
the problem?
You
As long
cooking?
as I deliver, right? It's all
Yeah.
about deliverables. As long as I deliver what I'm supposed to deliver, I do my bit. I pick up my own slack. Whether I'm looking at Facebook or faffing around on Instagram, that should be my own business. So it all now boils down to time management, individual time management. So employees are always told at intervals like, this is how you manage your time. This is what ought to be done on a certain day. This is what should not be done. Things like that. So I think that's about all I can say. I will not want to divulge more
Oh,
because of the agreement I have with that business.
okay. The agreements.
Yeah.
Agreements are very beautiful, beautiful things. We write a lot of them, so I can fully understand where you're actually coming from. And I'm not going to push further on that.
Mm,
I was actually asking that question because I've seen that a lot of businesses right now, like recent businesses that we began to work on once the whole lockdown was a bit relaxed and all that. Many of the entrepreneurs, of course, most of them might not necessarily be able to afford offices, but a whole lot of people are working. Like I know of a tech guy whose company I work closely with. He has, in fact, his team is, some of them are in Dubai, some are in India. They just have a way they do things, and they still deliver on projects. So I kind of just feel that the entire remote work scenario is actually gaining grounds. Just to add to that, there was a case law. I think it's a Switzerland case where the court was holding that if employers now expect employees to work from their homes and not from offices, that means they need to pay part of the rent.
Oh wow, that's really interesting. I think I'm interested in that.
I know before that gets to Nigeria, I know, who knows really, so that's what the court actually held. You cannot expect me to be working from home. I'm using data, internet, all those things. And you now just say, okay, these are your tax and all that. You need to actually be part of, what the employees actually have to deal with, working from home. Then you mentioned tech. You talked about tech initially when at the beginning of the interview, and I see that digital transformation is something that is cutting across a whole lot of businesses presently. Everybody is trying to see how they can, take advantage of technology induced, components to add to their business process to be able to do better, reach more people, provide services, beyond, a face-to-face approach and all of that. But before I land on my question, I just want to know what aspect of tech what aspect of tech businesses or what tech businesses are you involved with?
Okay. Again, I might not be able to answer as much.
Is it financial services? Is it infrastructure? Is it software development? Like software, you don't have to mention
software development.
Software development. Okay. So how do you think businesses can actually embrace technology for greater efficiency? You've talked about, like, on the remote working end of it, you mentioned things like Slack, you mentioned two other names. I'll have to listen to this over again so that I can actually understand some of the things that you've said.
Monday.com, Bitrix24.
Monday.
Both of them, yes, Monday.com.
Okay. So what's the best way? Imagine you could see into the future, and maybe this is like 10, you could see 10 years from now in terms of technology and how it affects the business that you run. If you could see 10 years from now, what would you actually be seeing?
10 years from now,
you're a business plan person. You guys, you're always forecasting and all that. So I want to know what 10 years from now would look like.
Okay, I might not be accurate. Let me just put that disclaimer. 10 years from now, working from home will just be normal. That's what I think. Working from home will just be normal. Then offices will be smaller, and businesses will have to save on rent. And when we are working from home, what is the real reason why we are paying exorbitant rents and all of that? Do you understand? So 10 years from now, automation in different businesses will be better. Like I mentioned earlier on, that last year I was running two classes back to back, and those two classes, they were intense because I had to attend to people individually after the class and before the class, during the week, and even post those classes I had to attend to people. So what I saw was that there ought to be a way for me to be less stressed, and I can also achieve this goal. So what I did, and I started looking out for different means to automate that whole class process. I was not ready to pay any amount on Teachable. I was not ready to pay any amount hosting those classes on Udemy or any other tech edu platform. I just wanted to find a way to host those classes and do it for free. initially I found out that I could put those videos, templates, everything on Telegram and let it be like a Telegram channel where people can just walk in and take whatever it is they need and also walk out. There will be no holds bar. The What I decided to do was I set up means where people would sign up and to lead them to the Telegram group. Then also I was also able to find out that Facebook has some platform for learning where you can host videos, put all the materials and everything, and people can easily see and track their process. So I was able to do that, and it was a huge stress relief for me. But the downside to that was I actually forgot about that particular project. I just after I hosted it, I was like, so I just decided to let it be. Automation in the sense that in service business, I mean, there are so many questions that people ask you on a daily, and if you could put those questions into a questionnaire that people would fill out first before you qualify them for a certain service. There are apps, there are links, there are things that already do that. I feel like it will be way, way better in the future. So an automated process, let's use your own business for an example, an automated process that would take note of everything that a particular client wants, and at the end of the whole questionnaire or at the end of the whole process, a service is already there waiting for them, like a tailored service, like this, a little bit of this, that, and that, and there's someone attached to that person already sorting their issues. So I feel automation, yes, in Nigeria we're already getting there, but we are not there enough. We still feel we need people for some processes that tools can easily take over. So in 10 years time, it will be something that will just be easy peasy. And also funding is one other aspect. Getting funds will be easier. I'm sure you've been seeing all the fintechs and all the people getting getting funds for their businesses and all of that. There are so many VCs available these days, angel investors and all of that. And people are beginning to see that tools tools in tech that can actually make businesses or your life better at the future. That's where the money is. So it's easier to get money from VCs if you can convince them that, hey, this thing will solve a lot of problem, and there are so many people that already have this particular problem. So yeah. So funding will be easier. Automation in businesses in Nigeria exactly will especially sorry in Nigeria especially would be easier. And yeah, funding, and those are the things that I'm seeing right now. Funding and automation. How businesses are run, they're working from home, a norm. So
Yeah,
what is gonna be
in fact, I'm sure a lot of people. I was talking to my team. I think today's Friday, right? It was this week, and I was like, one of my team members should just look up, like, what are some of the things that we do that must be done in the office, and what are the other things that we can actually do from home, because I just feel that we're actually getting to that point where it might even be easier for people. This will come to work, these 8 o'clock stuffs and all that. If you have a system that is built around certain KPIs, like you mentioned, and other areas where you can actually track the work that people are actually doing. If they like, let them be sleeping at other times. That's as far as they get that job
just
done.
deliver.
I think, yeah, deliver. I think that's really going to change. That's really going to change the way we actually do a whole lot of things. And I wanted to ask you, for example, are there aspects of your own business that you outsource?
Definitely, yeah.
And is there a way somebody can insource some of the things that you actually do?
Okay, I don't really get that.
Okay, I'm looking at outsourcing now. You outsourcing.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm thinking, okay, let me just leave it at outsourcing. Basically, what are those things what's your take on outsourcing? Basically, do you think outsourcing takes away certain things in terms of maybe the corporate culture of an organization now, for example. I know that in banking, I worked briefly in banking in Scotland myself, and much of the bank where I worked, a whole lot of the operations, especially customer service and some other things, fraud detection, fraud advisory, most of those things were outsourced to companies either in India or some other parts of Asia and all that. So the challenge the company had at the time was they could not really, even though they had operations guys, operations managers who were actually dealing with certain things, they could not really scale up on quality, on assurance, because somebody will say, okay, I spoke X, Y, and Z and all that. So I just want to know what your views are on, a company outsourcing certain operations and all that, or is it everything that a company does that actually must be in-house?
It will depend on the operations. That's number one. What you're really doing. You can't be in production and you say you want to outsource the core of your business. Although it's possible, right? You can outsource it, like someone else can be producing for you, and all you'll be doing is marketing and sales. Yeah, that can just be your own business model. So it will depend. It will depend on your own business, what you are really doing. Because like the example I just mentioned, the production one, just know that that's if you don't have some ironclad agreements or stuff, whatever it is you're producing can be easily mass produced if you're not in control of the ingredients or the components in that business. So people like you would come in to advise those people, like, okay, this is how to go about this business. They're already outsourcing the legal aspect to you because they don't have that legal knowledge, or they don't have the knowledge and the resources to actually make the total production of whatever it is they are producing. So that's outsourcing. And if they are coming to you to help them with an agreement for that kind of business, they will have some expectations from you that this is what you do. You protect their interests and also help them see that this business will be favorable to them. So they already have some sort of metrics they'll be measuring your performance on. Like, you cannot do some kind of agreement that it will not benefit them. That's one. And for the production bit, they'll also have to give an SOP or some manual, like this is how we want it done. This is how we want it to. This is what we want to be the final product. I feel outsourcing is it's beneficial to business if you know how to use it well. There is this company I work for in Canada. It's a logistics firm. Nobody will know that their customer service is all the way in Nigeria. I was able to help them do that. The person replying, I'm not even kidding. The person replying all their messages and everything, you think she's in Canada right there, and she knows about the climb, the routes and everything. She's all the way here in Nigeria. What we were able to do at the beginning of that business was we showed her a map. We gave her a map and we gave her the cities broken down, like, okay, this is the area we cover. This is what is to be expected of you. This is how you chat with our client. This is how, this is the payment procedure. This is how this is our own culture. So this is how you ought to relate with these people. So when she's relating with them, she's like, oh, okay, we'll pick up at XYZ in XYZ time. She already knows the time. Last week, was it last week or 2 weeks ago? I was like, let me just check in on this person and see how well she's doing with this company. So I was like, oh, hey, what's up and everything. And she was like, yeah, that is different. It's a bit, her timing has changed a bit because their time has changed. I was like, oh, okay. I mean, this girl is actually keeping up to date, and it's like, she knows what, she's in Nigeria, but she's working in Canada. So she can put on her CV that she has worked somewhere. And it's actually very interesting. For that company, it's beneficial to them that they're able to outsource to Nigeria where they can get a cheaper service. For her, it's beneficial for her because she doesn't go out. She works from home with her computer and her phone. She doesn't spend extra on transport. She doesn't do she doesn't have to go through traffic. So she just
Yeah.
works from the comfort of her home, and she doesn't even have to wake up very early in the morning for work. Her work is from afternoon to evening, and that's it.
Yeah.
So at the end of the month,
That,
you get her money. So
that's
that's one of
nice.
the services that we actually provide for people. We help them to do the onboarding process. Like, this is what you want, right? This is the goal. Okay, we'll help you with the procedures, like the SOP, what this person needs to know so that they can be comfortable in that role, so that they can perform well. The quality will be the same as if it was you, the owner of the business, still handling things. It will
Yeah.
still be the same tone. It will still be the same voice. So the image that we projected to the customers will still be like, okay, it's still the same person, and they care about me and they care about my business. So outsourcing is beneficial. If it's not done right, it would harm the business. Like you were mentioning earlier on about call centers being all the way in India. I've heard of some call centers in Ghana, in fact. Like, I'm sure maybe some people, when they have some issues and they are relating to the people over the phone, they're not able to connect very well. They're like, okay, what is really going on? I've had instances where I'm actually really confused. When I was in London, I had an issue with my network provider. So I called. The accent was just very funny. I was like, number one, this is not the accent. Where is this person calling from? Like, and this person, all they were able to do was to just calm me down. They were not able to resolve the problem I had. I was angry. I was like, ah. Later on, after doing some research on my own, I found out that they were calling all the way from, I don't even know, like maybe India or something. Like, for that
Bangladesh.
business, Bangladesh, Pakistan, all those places. Like, for that company, yes, they would have been saving on costs, but they lost me as a
Yeah.
customer. I
Oh,
switched network
yeah.
because I wasn't enjoying it. And whenever I called the call center, there was no solution for me, and nobody was escalating anything. All they would just do is to play me some calm song and talk sweetly to me, and nothing was being. So they lost me as a customer. If done right, outsourcing is actually very good for your business. And with the way we are going, in future, you might not need to have so many employees. If I can have you as
Yeah.
part of my legal team, have someone else for the recruitment, have
You,
an
you should
have
actually have me as part of the legal team.
have someone else for my accounting. Do you understand? Like, have different people. At the end of the day, when you need something, they deliver. In comparison to an employee that you have to be flogging. Sorry, mind my language, not flogging really. Nobody flogs.
Don't worry, I'll cut this part off.
I mean, like, you always have to motivate or punish for them to do what they're supposed to do at the right time. If it's a company you've outsourced to and they're not performing well, you cut them loose. Okay, not really cut them loose, depending on your agreement. If your agreement permits you, you cut them loose and you find another company that will give you that same satisfaction. So,
Yeah.
in my own opinion, outsourcing, when it's done right, it's actually very, very good for your business.
All right. We're almost coming to the end of our session. It's supposed to last for 1 hour. I think we've already gone about 57 or 58 minutes thereabouts.
Mm.
I have two more questions. Just two more. Uh, the first one is not more like a question. Is I just also want to know what you think from your vast expanse of experience. let's tap into that a little. Yeah, the future requires different skill sets. You know,
Mm.
I know the era, like when I was in university back in the days, it's not like computers. I actually bought my first computer when I was in 200 level. When I put that computer on and I tried to use it, it would boot for like almost 1 hour. It was a crazy system, you know, but people then in school, they'll be like, man, this guy, because I was on campus in hostel, school, university hostel and all that. And they'll be like, that guy that has computer in his room. But they won't know that that computer takes like, you know, an hour to wake up. Also with the typewriter and all that, a lot of things are changing. So
Mm.
if we are looking at processes, business culture, you know, for the future, what would you say are the first two skills that come to your mind that every human being should look forward to having?
Basic tech skills. Tech
Basic tech skills.
is the future. You have to know how to use tools. You can't be like I don't know how to use this jaw, or I'm not interested in try. Like
I
within the
can't do
space of
too.
last year,
Yeah.
in the space of last year and this year, I've learned how to use a lot of tools. Like I was just trying different things. Like, okay, this one, how does it work? This one, what's how can I use it to make whatever it is I'm doing better? That's how I was able to find Slack, Bitrix24, Monday.com. There are two other ones that I also found, but because they didn't really appeal to me at that time, that's why I can't really remember their names right now. So tech, you need to learn how to navigate basic apps. You need to learn, I mean, last between 27, not 27, 2019 and now, I've mastered the art of designing on Canva. Trust me. Like, so when I when I want to do something when I want to do a little design work, I can just go to Canva and play around and I will get whatever it is I'm looking for. So I've been able to use that, and I've been able to also show people how to use it. I mean, I had an assistant one time that I asked if she could use Canva, and she was like, yes. So what she was doing for me wasn't it at all. So the knowledge I gained from hosting that class last year, I was able to use it to do tutorials for her. So I did tutorials on how to use Canva. So that was how she was able to learn how to use Canva to make better designs and all of that. So if I had kept myself like, okay, this thing safe, this is not my line of work, let me focus on my focus, and tech is the future. You have to learn how to use one or two tools that will make your business processes better, because you need to teach your employees how to do certain things. And we are coming to an age where we need tech, we need all these technological tools for almost everything we are doing in business. So I'll say tech. Tech is a big one.
Okay, then finally. Um, how do I put this now? I imagine that I'm a company that wants to lead in the future, because that is what strategy is really about at the end of the day. All things said and done, strategy is not about the past. It's not even about the present. It's about, future currencies and all of that. Yeah. So for a company that wants to lead in the future, what is that thing that certain companies need to cut off from doing? I didn't want to ask it the other way around. The other way around would have been, what is it that a company should start doing?
Okay.
But they mean the same thing actually. So
for a company that wants to excel in the future, you have to keep on you have to be agile. You have to keep on analyzing and move with change. You can't be rigid, you can't be fixated in one spot and say this is how we do it, or this is how it has always been done. You have to keep innovate your process. When I know some people go by, when it's not broken, don't try to fix it. But you can also go by, how can we make it better? If you were accomplishing a particular task within 5 minutes before, how can I make it in 2.5, or how can I make it in 4.5 minutes? So you understand, like half of the time, or a little bit shaved off. How can I save more in time, in money, and how can I use less people to do more work? You have to that's it basically.
Okay, thank you so very much, John. I had to make sure the A was very silent. Those of us, I'm not saying I'm local, but for the local people out there, I'm sure that A is always, that's what makes the entire thing feel like what it is.
I'm telling you, I still correcting people on the name. I still correcting people, but it's fine. I'm almost used to it.
Yeah. Thank you so much, John, for joining us. And I really appreciate the fact that you've added so much value. My hope is that at the end of this whole process, we'll try and compress all your value punchlines and see how we can make that into a clip that will be useful on other platforms and all that. And I'll be happy to share all of that with you as well. Finally, how do we meet? How do we meet you? Where do you exist? I know your website, but I would like you to share it yourself. What are your handles? How can people follow you? You know, and what's that special number that is for business only, or an email or something? Yeah.
Okay. I am online. I'm online. My website is no, sorry. Our website is www.bluewatergambit.com. Then our social media handles are at Blue Water Gambit. That's on Twitter, on Facebook, and Instagram. We're on LinkedIn as well, but not active on LinkedIn. Then you can also reach us on WhatsApp on +234 905 +234 905 465 9405.
Okay.
Do I need to say
Thanks so much, John. It's really been a pleasure having you on today's show of the Nigerian Company Boss. I even feel to say at the beginning that you are the Nigerian Company Boss for Nigeria has to recognize that fact that there's a new boss in town for today. You know, and I'm sure that maybe in the future when we call on you again, you know, to intervene in certain of that, you will definitely show up for us. Thanks again, and do have a very wonderful evening. I can see Engineer Tayo Ogunleye. He has joined us from the beginning to the end of this session. I know there was Juliana Imam was also on the Zoom live recording. Thank you so very much, everyone, and see you on our next session. We would advertise that on WhatsApp, on Instagram, on Facebook, and on LinkedIn. Till I come your way some other time in the future, keep in yourself and see you next time. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. Have a wonderful weekend.
You
Bye.
too, yeah. Yeah, bye. Hello, Mr. Tayo.
Oh, yeah,
Hello.
now. Hello.
Hello, sir.
Hello. What I know?
Yes. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Yes, sir. You.
Yeah, John.
Wow, John has gone off. Can I? You have a question for her?
Just to have a chat, little one or two things, yeah. But there's no problem. Since she has gone off, that's gone off.
I can actually ask her to come back online if that's fine with you.
Yeah. Don't worry.
Okay, sir. Thank you for standing by.
We'll talk. I'll call you later.
Okay, sir. All right, sir. Thanks a lot. Yeah, cheers.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
I'm waiting for